Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Timothy Corwell. I'm just filming this to show you how I went from zero to over $1 million in my Shopify store in less than 7 months. My store started in July 2017. I got it up here for you. I just basically this is going to be just a little test video. I'll just explain to you exactly how I did it and how you can replicate the exact sort of same thing. I literally started with $3,000 in my bank account, Australian, and I was like nervous to spend money on ads. Hopefully you can see that there. Oh, it's backwards. I'll put like a little screenshot in it, but that's, damn, it's not coming out very well at all, is it? So that's $1 million anyways. You can potentially do some wizardry there and flip it upside down. I also loaded up like the date that I started it. I'll put proper screenshots in that, that's bad. But anyway, I started in July last year from zero, no knowledge on Shopify, no anything like that. So yeah, basically what I did was I quit my job in May, and then I left to Thailand because I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna start an online business. I didn't really know what I was gonna do. Came across a couple people doing e-commerce, and I was like, oh, this could be a good idea. It was either gonna be Facebook ads agency or e-commerce, like dropshipping. I had no idea about dropshipping then. But anyway, one of the fellas at work, at my workplace, he was doing it and he was making about $400 a day. And I was like, that's sick, online money, you know, like coming in. And that was just revenue too. So that kind of sparked an idea. And then I quit my job, went traveling, and in Thailand, I met this fella who was doing quite well. Like I sort of just bumped into him, he was doing quite well. And I asked him to lunch, and if I could ask him a few questions, and I don't want to drop his name here just so he will get, like, you know, inundated with requests as well, but he was an awesome dude, and potentially I'll share you his name, but I consider him my first mentor. Anyway, so that's what I knew to do. I knew that I wanted to start up an online business, but there's like all this information out there online. It's very confusing, and oftentimes it's like contradicting each other. So the first step that I did, and that I would recommend you do, is do that. Find someone. Like I didn't just bump into him, I bumped into his girlfriend's friend. So I was like actively found him, like hunted him down, being like, yo dude, do you mind if I catch up with you, and please, you know, I'll do anything. So find a mentor or find someone who's doing what you want to do in real life, and that'll just make things a whole lot easier, because even though he didn't give me that much information, he really gave me the solidified my mindset that this was possible. And so anyway, so I started my first store not long after meeting him, and I was still traveling around, so I did the Shopify free trial. It was like 2 weeks, and because I was traveling, I didn't do much work, so left the store, and I came back to it about 3 or 4 weeks later, this was July now, and I was like, damn, the free trials run out. So and at that stage, I was literally, I was a traveler. I only had about $3,000 or $4,000 to my name, maybe 5 by then, but anyway, like that's Australian dollars too. Anyways, so I was yeah, I was like, oh damn, I don't want to spend money on the Shopify thing unless I can make it work. So I started a new store. I was literally that broke. I started a new store, so I could get the new 21-day free trial or 14-day free trial, whatever it is. And so that's where I was, financially. I was struggling. I was scared to spend money. I didn't even want to spend the money for Shopify registration. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is that you can do it on a whim with like barely any money at all. I did it, why can't you? And then so I started launching ads. I started learning everything I could. I just really immersed myself into it. Me and my mate had a bungalow right on the beach in Koh Phangan, which is an island in Thailand. It was such an awesome place. So we were just smashing out work every single day. That's all we were doing. We're doing working and partying. I knew that I had to cut down the partying if I wanted to get like actual stuff done. Anyways, so yeah, I was hustling, and I was relatively lucky. I got my first sale in a week, in the first week of having my store, which was pretty exciting. And I was like, at that first sale, I was like, yes, I've made it. This is it, done. Like, no more work needed to do. I've cracked the code. And so I was like, all right, sweet. And this was off $5 ads, and $5 a day ads. And so the next day, there was no sales. And I was like, what's going on here? Next day, no sales. I was like, what's going on? Oh, and I was scared to keep the ad running, but I thought, all right, so it was a $30 product. I thought I'll let it run until I've not made any profit on this product anymore. And then the next day I got another sale on it, and I was like, oh yeah, and then the same mentality hit me, and I was like, I've definitely made it this time. This is definitely a goer. Long story short, that product wasn't a winner. I could have turned it into a winner with the knowledge I have now, but I didn't make it a winner. I lost money on it. I had to do all the orders, like fulfill all the orders manually and everything like that. So yeah, I got that little taste, which was amazing, but then I was still traveling around, so it was like hard to stay focused. But I asked the fella who I met earlier on, I said, where are you at? You know, would you like to meet up? And we met up in a city called Chiang Mai in Thailand, which is a really cool city. I would definitely recommend it if you're wanting to start up an online business, because it's like a hub for digital nomads. Which is like, yeah, really cool to surround yourself. It's like, all right, number two, the number one was like, find someone who's gonna do it, basically, who's done it before, so you can set your mindset. And number two, pretty much surround yourself with those types of people, or people who are all trying to do what you're trying to do, or just making money online in general. So Chiang Mai is a great spot. There's a place, community called Canggu in Bali, which is really cool as well. Southeast Asia for all you Aussies out there. Might be a bit far for the Americans, and Europeans, etc. But anyways, yeah. So I went to Chiang Mai, and I met a few people who were making money online. Not necessarily drop shipping, but they were making money online. So it solidified that I could potentially do this. I was slaving away. I was working hard, still learning everything I could. I hadn't hit a campaign by this stage at all. I was getting a few sales here and there, but I was at the stage where I was scared. I was like, damn, maybe this isn't for me. Other people out there are crushing it, but maybe it's just like, you know, this is just a miracle, a unicorn business. And then people are just selling, the courses. That's how they're really making the money. So that's what I thought. And I was like, I don't know. But then I met up with that, my first mentor again. We bumped into each other in Chiang Mai, or we met each other in Chiang Mai. And we sat down, and he was like, don't be too scared to spend money on ads. You know, like you got to allocate a certain budget to ads and just really spend it, like, so you can get the data. Obviously don't spend it willy-nilly, but spend it so you can get the data, so you can actually make like Facebook work for you, because Facebook's a super intelligent platform. So I hadn't realized it, but I had 2 winners on my store, they were trickling in sales, but because I wasn't feeding Facebook, this was $5, $10 ad sets. Because I wasn't feeding Facebook enough data, it wasn't doing anything for me, so I wasn't learning fast enough. So he was like, yeah, it is scary, but maybe you should try bump that ad spend up to $50 a day. So I did, and I wasn't even paying attention really to the metrics. I had a general idea, but yeah, so I knew they were like okay metrics. But anyway, I bumped up the ad spend, and voila, I had winners, which was like really exciting. And then they weren't full winners, they weren't super profitable, but I went through the stages of like increasing conversion optimization, doing retargeting, all these sorts of things that you learn that are just basically you need to have as a machine in your e-commerce business. Yeah, and so I did that, and then basically scaled up from there. So I found out about events. I was starting to join masterminds online on Facebook and things like that. People who are making money online, doing the same thing as you. That's really important. I found this. There was an event in Singapore called the eCom. What was it called? Damn, I'll put the tag in because I forgot what it's called. But Steve and Evan Tan were one of the hosts of it, and it was great. There was like, it was just ecom related, met a bunch of like dudes absolutely crushing it, and women. It's not just a male business, whatever that means. Anyways, yeah, so I met more people, and that solidified my mindset. I was like, yeah, all right, this is it. You know, this is starting to work for me. I can make it work even more. By that stage, I was maybe like $200-300 a day. So that was sick. In my opinion, I was like, this is dope. You know, like I've got an online business, it's making me money. That's $200-300 revenue, so profit margins were about $50 to $100 if I was lucky. And I was stoked. worked away from there, kept on learning more and applying what I was learning. So I wasn't learning so much that I couldn't apply anything. I was learning it and then applying it straight away, testing it. Sometimes, obviously, I was like learning things and I forgot about it, I didn't do it. But in general, I was testing it straight away as soon as I learnt it. And usually, the crazy thing is it just works in e-commerce. Like email marketing, for example, I was like, okay, I need to get email marketing. I should get that sorted. As soon as I sorted out email marketing, bang, there was like an increase in revenue. My profits went up, and it felt more like a real business too. It's like once you start creating systems, then you really then you really have a business, like with the systems that are replicatable. So that's another piece of advice. Like once you find, if you're doing a chore that you don't like to do and it's on repeat and you're doing the same thing, then systemize it or hire someone else to do it for you. So you got to get like VAs from the Philippines and etc. Like it's awesome. It's an awesome world. Anyway, so like I was saying, I went to that event in Singapore. That like really boosted everything. I was still doing traveling around at this stage, bouncing around Australia, Southeast Asia, which was really awesome. I was traveling and my bank account was going up. So that was like that was my dream. I was like, if I can get a successful online business and travel, while seeing my money go up instead of go down, I was like, I'm set. I've made it. Which, you know, obviously I pushed forward a bit more from there. So I went back to my hometown in Darwin, Australia, which is at the very north of Australia, and I was there for about a month, and I started getting itchy feet again. I wanted to travel, and one of my other mentors, who was a paid mentor, awesome dude, Jay, shout out to Jay Yakovev, e-commerce on steroids. Anyway, so he hit me up and he's like, hey dude, I'm speaking at this conference. You want to come and join? And it was in Bangkok. And I was like, I don't know, tickets about $1,000 and then flights with a 600 return on top of that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I hit you up with, I got you a free ticket sorted. I was like, yeah, well, I can't say no to that. So I flew to Bangkok for this conference, yet again, surrounded by all these awesome people. That was Affiliate World Asia. So it wasn't exactly drop shipping, but it was affiliate marketing and, you know, direct response marketing, which is really super cool. So yeah, surrounded myself with these people again, and then I found out about a mastermind that I could join. That was $8,000 US, which was iStack training. Awesome bunch of guys. Check those guys out too. And you know, yet again, I was like, all right, sweet. I gotta step my game to the next level. And by this stage, I was actually escalating, I was scaling, I was developing better strategies for my ads. I was ripping YouTube videos, mixing them together, making my own videos, you know, cutting things up. And I was actually almost on $10,000 a day by this stage, which was phenomenal. It was sick. But then this mastermind, so that's $10,000 a day revenue. It was more like 8 to 9. And so that mastermind was still pretty expensive for me. I was like, oh, that's a lot of money. But then I thought I needed a bit of a push over the edge. And I hit up the fella who kind of convinced me to do it. I heard him speaking on stage, James Van Wyck, hopefully I said that right. He's an awesome dude. He's a powerhouse as well. And I was like, I don't know if I'm at that level. I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. And he's like, don't be a fucking idiot. That's the exact place that you want to be, because that's where your brain will learn the most, because you're even though you don't really have any value to give or that much value to give, you'll be able to absorb everything that these like killers are doing, you know, absolute ballers of the game. So that's what I did. I went to Phuket. I spent 8K on this mastermind. I was scared about it, but it was honestly the best thing I ever did, was going on one of these masterminds, because I invested in myself. And it's a lot of money for me at the time. It still is. And I was like, I can't let this go to waste. So my brain was like in hyperdrive. I was like absorbing every little bit of information. There was awesome people there. Met a whole bunch of new people who were just like absolutely slaughtering the online game. So that was sick. That was in December last year. I came back to Australia then after that mastermind, and you know, like everything was just like crazy. So I applied pretty much only a few of the principles that I learned in that mastermind, and shot me straight up to 15K days. I was like, all right, this is pretty sick. Did a bit more application of what I learned from these guys. You know, you just trust the system. You got to trust the process and really believe that it works. So I applied that information again, and then I got to about $30,000 days, US dollars, which is sick for us Aussies because the exchange rate's pretty nice. And yeah, I've literally been bumming around for most of January. I haven't done that much work, which is kind of like angsting me out. I really want to get the hustle on again. But my store passed $1 million on Wednesday, which is super exciting. I was like, what's going on here? I rented a Lamborghini the other day. Took my girlfriend out on a sick date night. It was just like, and I didn't even think twice about it, you know, like spend $1,000 renting out a luxury car. I was like, yeah, no worries. Like, that's crazy for me. The way I grew up, the way, you know, my financial situation has been, I've always been like careful with my money. So I would never do something like that unless I really had a solid income stream. So that was pretty cool. Again, that was like solidifying my mindset to have more abundance in my life as opposed to scarcity. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now. So that's like my story. I don't know if this helped, or I don't know. I don't really know much about much. I've been meaning to start filming YouTube channels for a while, simply because I want to start, because if you teach something, that solidifies it in your brain more, right? So if I film like and send it out to people, even if nobody watches it, I'm still benefiting from it because I'm filming and I'm essentially teaching what I've just learned. So it's going to solidify that in my head. So hopefully you've learned something. Hopefully it's somewhat inspiring. If you do want any information, if you are listening, that's awesome. And please just hit me up. Let me know, comment on this, just because I probably won't film that many videos if I don't get a great response. So just hit me up and ask me if there's anything in particular that you're interested in, particularly in the Shopify dropshipping world. I'm into cryptocurrency, as everyone is on the online business world as well. So hit me up about that. Anything really. I really hope there's a couple of you guys out there who are getting some sort of value from this. But this is my first video. I'm excited to begin this journey, but I'm also, I don't want to be like fake guru or anything like that. So I'm not going to say that I've made it. I'm not going to say that listen to everything I say. I just want to give you some value, and I want to build up my basically everything about myself, my self-development portfolio, and I want to build up my business as well. So I'll just film some videos along the way, hopefully give you some value. Yeah, hit me up if you're interested in anything, but I really hope to hear from you guys soon. So catch you later.